Hi, welcome to Gemstone Tarot. This is your pick a card reading for November 2018. What messages Spirit has for you, what guidance, or just any little tidbits you can pick up. Have a look at the three piles on the table, numbered 1, 2 and 3. There's different crystals on there. They're not particularly matching because I'm not a very matching kind of a person. But choose without thinking as much as you can for any reason you like, number 1, 2 or 3. I'm going to take a deep breath. If you want to take a deep breath with me, sometimes that helps to kind of tune in. Wow, I really needed that. Okay, by now you should have 1, 2 or 3. I will put timestamps for 1, 2 or 3 in the description box, and you can go to that timestamp and have a look what your messages are. Just a quick note, some people are drawn to more than one number. I can already tell that some of you have been. You can do all 3 if that's the way it takes you, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, whatever. Just go with whatever, because somewhere in there's a message for you. Okay, I'll see you on the other side. Okay, pile number 1. Let's have a look for you. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Okay. Mending bridges, building bridges. You've got Chuck Spezzano's Enlightenment card of, let me just do that, of joining and healing. These two people come together on a bridge. Sometimes the idea about this is that, you know, somebody has to meet you halfway, or it needs to be 50-50. Sometimes it needs to be 90-10, whether it's their 90 and you're 10, or you're 90 and they're 10. This is about building delicate bridges with people. It can be in relationships, it can be colleagues at work, it can be family. There's a real need for you in November to take action towards being your authentic self with relationship. Okay, we've got Yang, which is the masculine energy of making things happen, taking steps, living in your truth. Some of you may have to have an awkward conversation, okay? It feels like that kind of conversation you don't want to have with someone, where you have to address something that's either embarrassing or very deeply held for you and you haven't told them yet, or they may have that conversation with you. And it seems like when that conversation is finally had, and we do have a full moon in Gemini towards the end of the month, I think it's the 24th, I'm rubbish with dates, but it's around then. That's a good time to be communicating. It's the sign of communication. It will be easier around that time if you've got something to say. Whatever is said, it looks like it cleaves you to the other person. It's a shared understanding. It's a problem halved. It's a secret well worth sharing. You've got the Hermit in the reverse. If you've been struggling with something on your own and thinking, you know, I can cope with this, I don't want to bother them, I don't want people to feel sorry for me, you know, that kind of feeling, now is not the time for being the Hermit. Now is the time, even if you have to crawl, okay, because some of you are stubborn, is to get yourself onto that bridge. If you're bringing 10%, and for you as a very private, maybe introverted person, or just that the subject is really difficult, if you're bringing 10% of the truth, that is halfway, okay? That is halfway. You've got the Oracle card of Truth and the Higher Self. This is something that's really needing to express itself from a very deep place. For some of you, this could be a conversation in a family context, either with your family, maybe with children, with partner, or it could also be a kind of ancestral conversation. You know, if someone has passed, there's a difficult conversation. If something has been going on for years, there's been some kind of rift, or as the kids like to say, beef, I think these days, that's a difficult conversation. For some of you, it could be work. You know, there are things, I think we underestimate sometimes the things that happen to us at work because they're not supposed to be personal. You know, we have to be professional. We can't bring this to anybody. We need to keep it to ourselves. We need to keep ourselves zipped up. We keep our professional persona on, okay? You know, work becomes personal because most people go there nearly every day or many days out of your year. There isn't really a time when you are not a person, when you're not being yourself, when you're not being a human. And again, there is a real need in November, and perhaps because we're in Scorpio season, which is, you know, Scorpio is a sign that plumbs the depths. It goes to the darker places. It talks about the darker topics, the darker emotions. It talks about jealousy. It talks about sexuality. It talks about death. It talks about birth. It talks about all of those rites of passage. There is a need for you to be in your truth. You're going to find it hard in November to exist any other way. For some of you, there is a deeply held wish that you haven't expressed, maybe to somebody. Maybe it's about a relationship, maybe it's about a pay rise, okay? But better out than in is the adage. Now, we've got the Page of Wands here. Some of you could be dealing with a fire sign person, but I think the more important message from the Page of Wands here is about, there is something called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like the 5-second rule. It's a book, isn't it? Where if you've got something awkward to say or something you feel frightened of, you kind of go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and you just blurt it. There is something in that for you this month. Obviously, be careful. You don't want to just go blabbing the whole farm to anyone. But if you've got everything else in place and all that's stopping you is your own nervousness, try that. You may need to be what you consider to be brash with somebody. Of course, the boot could be on the other foot. Someone else may be coming to you. But I have a feeling that you've both got something to say. That's the joining card. Now notice that the joining card is also a healing card. Love brings up anything unlike itself to be healed. Now over here you have the rather delicious card of the Star. Some of the subject that you want to talk about probably emerged between about February and August 2018. We had an eclipse in Aquarius in February, I think it was the 15th-ish. My dates are always in ish. And then we had a further eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, I think it was, on the 28th of July 2018. So these subjects may have really got close to the bone at those times, okay? You may have stewed on it for that long, and it may have taken you as long as November to really need to release it. This needs to be released, okay? Healing with the Angels card, you've got support. Now, this kind of support is angelic support. For me, Archangel Michael is my go-to archangel. If you have a go-to archangel, brilliant. Sometimes, and you have got the card of the higher self, you can literally put it on the altar of your higher self. You can ask for the right words. You can ask for the courage to go and stand on that bridge with the other person and join. Sometimes this support is earthly support. And that's literally people you can really, really trust. You know, there's normally very few people who will tell you the absolute truth when you need to hear it. That's a real friend, okay? Ask their advice too. But either way, with the Page of Wands and Yang, there is going to be a positive movement towards this. And with the Star as well, the Star is a card of It's a card of wishing. It's a major arcana card. There's always someone playing with water, and she's always at the source of water. It's a bit like temperance. Once you get going with this conversation, which may be more than just one conversation, there may be several goes around the table or attempts at this, something magic will transform. For some of you, of course, this could be relationship because we are in Venus retrograde. Whether it's relationship, work, family, or all of the above, this is a conversation where the truth will set you free and also help to make some future dreams come true. This for me is sometimes law of attraction, or what I call juju, being released. It's like, pew. You may not feel it straight away. You may feel a bit drained in the first part of having this conversation, but it will feel again. That's a release. There will be energy released to the universe, which will propel you forward. You'll be in a more authentic place, and also you will feel the need for fellowship. If you have this conversation and you're feeling a bit depleted initially, that's when you need to go and find that really good friend, you know? Put on the stretchy trousers, eat some chocolate, have a laugh, watch a comedy, whatever it is, get yourself a little bit back into the groove. But you will find, probably moving into 2019, that the events that are encouraged to take place in November and the truth that you have the courage to speak will set you free. Wow, number one. If you want a private reading, you can book in the description box, and do check out my other pick a card readings and my November readings for your individual star sign. And I'll see you soon. Namaste. Okay, number two. Let's have a look for you. Wow. Nice. Okay, number two, there is a need for you to get real about a few things. One is about exercise, diet, and how you handle your physical body in the universe. Interesting. What you're putting into your body as well. You get Gaia. It's a beautiful card. The colouring on it is gorgeous. Now, you know, I don't mean that you then have to go and research loads of weird smoothies that taste like hedges or any of that stuff. We're just talking paying attention to what you put in your body. Some of you might have been finding that perhaps coffee or whatever it is that you drink has a particular effect on you that you're maybe not enjoying. It's the kind of thing that is quite simple, that you can work out yourself, or you could go and see a nutritionist if you wanted to. I don't think that's entirely necessary unless it's your thing anyway. But you will be feeling, Venus is in retrograde, you will be feeling kind of the effects of exercise on the body. It's a good time to join a dance class. Anything where you get to do quite free movements. So, I mean, I'm not brilliant at this. In fact, I'm terrible. And when all of the class goes one way, I go the other way. I am that lone, the lone wolf that's like going over here and everyone's going over there. Okay? But the kind of class where it doesn't matter and no one cares if you screw it up. You know, that kind of class. Something that's fun, something that will encourage you to really, you know, really move the body. Really move the body. If you have issues with moving the body, just going for a walk. Obviously see your doctor and all that stuff. But moving the body is going to release energy for you. It's going to release chi for you. Some of you as well are going to feel the need to take the lead in a situation. This could be to do with a romantic relationship. Some of you are in a confusing situation. Page of Swords in reverse. You may find this as you move into Mercury retrograde, which comes in, it comes in on the 17th of November, but to be honest, it's with us from about the 7th of November, as far as I'm concerned. It has a 2-week shadow period. You may need to take charge of a situation. Somebody is being evasive. Page of Swords in reverse is where information is not coming into you in the way that you want it. For some of you, if you are involved in this in a relationship, it could be having an effect on the physical body. You could find that you are full of adrenaline and tension, in which case, again, freeing up the body, going to the dance class, swimming, anything that makes your body and soul sing. And again, drinking water, getting sleep, just looking after the physicality of yourself. You have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Seven of Cups is the fantasy future card. You're going to be getting deeply real about the future with somebody. You know, the Seven of Cups has a lot of mysterious things knocking around in these cups. It is a cup card, so it is about feeling. And it is about love, and it is about intuition. You could be involved with a water sign or a Sagittarius, to be honest, or an air sign. But this person is bewildered by the choices. Now, the reason why he's bewildered is because half of these choices aren't real. They're in a cloud. They are fantasy. If you tried to pick one of these futures, it would poof on you. You're getting that feeling about somebody. In November, in Scorpio season, you will find you need to take the lead on getting real, however that can happen. You also have Temperance, Major Arcana card. Now, Temperance for me normally means in the time of Sagittarius. I did this today in my daily reading. Sagittarius starts, and my dates are terrible, okay, 23rd, I think, of November. And this is a November spirit guide reading. Okay, so things will kind of start to happen about a relationship getting real from the 23rd in the time of Sagittarius, possibly with a Sagittarius. But for me, Temperance is more about the time of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. It's the planet of expansion. Again, I'm getting this for you. Maybe belly dancing or you know, Bollywood dancing. God, I love that. Anything which gives you freedom to get out of a situation where you're being held back by a lack of information. Scorpio season helps you to dig down into what's real and what isn't. In other words, who's with you and who isn't with you. For some of you, this is work. You want to get hold of some facts or figures. You want to know the truth. For some of you, this is definitely romantic relationship. You get the healing card of leadership. It's a tricky path to tread because you need to take leadership on a situation. That means, I think, letting someone know that this kind of confusion to you is no longer acceptable. But at the same time, it's leadership, it's not forcing. So you need to be showing by example what you will accept and what you won't. And I feel like this means drawing boundaries. For some of you, it's literal physical boundaries. You know, this is making me feel ill. Explaining that to somebody, or even just acknowledging it to yourself. This makes me feel ill, therefore I'm going to steer clear from this until they can tell me the truth. That could be a boundary. Only you can know what your boundaries are. But having a boundary is leadership. Mark Twain said, people take you at your own example. No, people take you at your own recommendation. You need to recommend your best self. Put your best self forward to somebody. If you are accepting a level of non-communication, a level of silence, or a level of just non-committal communication, that's making you feel ill. It has an effect on your physical body. For everyone in November, in Scorpio season, moving into Sagittarius season, there is a need to get real. Your oracle card is Loyal Heart. And I don't think you can settle for anything less. For some of you, the only way you're going to know is to take the lead by setting boundaries in November. For some of you, this is a soft boundary. It's a feminine boundary. It may seem like you are soft on the outside, you're not shouting at someone, you're not forcing them, but down the middle of you here is a complete trunk of I will not be moved, okay? You shall not pass, Gandalf. I'm feeling that. But it's not dictatorial. You're not coming across as forcing, because if you force someone, you're still not getting honest communication with them. They're just forced into saying something, which is probably not going to be the truth. For a few of you, you may be considering whether you need to leave someone behind. If they can't be honest with you and they can't communicate with you, maybe this was an element of fantasy too far, and you decide to get real and you really do draw that line. That is up to you. The most important thing to say is, if you do draw boundaries in November in terms of relationship and loyalty, your physical well-being will benefit from it. And join a dance class, okay? If you want a private reading, you can book in the description box below. Also, check out the November readings on my playlist for each individual star sign. You can look at your sun, your moon and your rising, and have a look at my other pick a card readings. Leave a comment and do subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon. Namaste. Okay, number 3. Let's have a look for you. Oh, wow. Woohoo. Number 3, you may already have or have been tempted by number 1, I think. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay. Venus retrograde is hitting you quite hard. It started on October the 5th. It finishes on October the 16th, but Venus is a planet a bit like Mercury, where you have quite a remarkable shadow period. So for me, the effects of Venus retrograde don't really start to get going again until towards the end of the month. Some of you are thinking about an ex here. I've got the 8 of Cups in reverse. The 8 of Cups is the card of walking away from someone you love, or a relationship, or someone walking away from you. It's a kind of a breakup card. It can be for a job, it can be for romance. More often it's for romance, but it could be either. Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is the planet of is the sign of unconditional love. Saturn is the planet of head ruling the heart and being sensible. The sensible decision was to walk away from someone or something, and that decision probably has already happened. If not, it forms part of your November Venus retrograde feelings. This card's in the reverse, and then it fell on the floor and went into the upright. This is my flip-flopping card. It's my boomerang card. This is complicated. It's a complicated relationship. Somebody, I think, has already walked away, and you're feeling left out in the cold here. 5 of Pentacles in reverse. Left out in the cold. It's like the security blanket has gone. Like they've pulled the rug out from under your feet. For some of you, you may be waiting to hear from somebody. There may have been a bit of communication, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. It's a feeling I'm getting here in November of trying to deal with abandonment. Some of these issues of abandonment will go back to a young age, which is why it feels, I can feel it, okay? I can feel it here. So I can feel sobbing, I can feel sadness. It's a real feeling, okay? So my heart goes out to you, number 3s. You've got the 9 of Wands in reverse. Don't have too high an expectation of yourself for November, okay? Normally when the 9 of Wands is in reverse, it's a card that says you haven't really drawn strong boundaries. I mean, come on, okay? This is a very upsetting situation. You will get to draw strong boundaries in the future, but you also need to be easy on yourself in the meantime, okay? You You either have a soft spot for this person or you just find yourself totally undefended. You find yourself totally vulnerable. It's a card of feeling vulnerable. For some of you, this may be someone you broke up with a long time ago, but Venus retrograde, love brings up anything unlike itself to be healed. Your enlightenment card is the victim card, the hidden self. This is a card where, as I was saying, you feel abandoned because when you were young you felt invisible. It's those feelings that no one noticed, no one cared. And those feelings, when they hit us, particularly up to the age of about 10, they almost lodge in the physical body. I can feel it right here. And then this person pulling the rug out from you, leaving or whatever they've done, or disappearing or ghosting, has put you right back into that victim mode of the hidden self, of feeling like you didn't count. You didn't count enough to make them stay. Now, you get two other oracle cards here. They're very pretty. You get Life Force, Aphrodite. Now, this is a Venus-driven card, okay? Although it feels in November like this is too much to handle, this is actually going to be very beneficial for you moving into 2019. Now, Venus retrograde, when it ends, it goes straight into Mercury retrograde. You may hear from this person then. This is after November the 17th. The best advice I can give you with this card too, which is yin, the feminine principle of yin, is not to be too hard on yourself, not to do anything. Sometimes when this kind of abandonment anxiety takes over, the feeling is of needing to do something. I need to get out, I need to talk to them, I need to pen the most amazing email, I don't know what I need to do, but I need to do something. It's that feeling. See if you can sink into your feelings about it. This is the feminine principle of yin. Literally feeling it. Feeling those feelings until they move into something else. What we resist persists. If you have those sad feelings and you try to distract yourself, or you try to ignore them, or you try to think them through, or strategize, or get one of those get your ex back things, you know, that you can buy on the internet, all of that stuff is going to make it worse. Sink in. Adopt the yin position. Feel the feelings. Let the sadness move through you. This resistance is something that you have perfected since childhood. And this is the time in November, we're in the time of Scorpio, deep, deep subconscious movement, what I like to call going downstairs, and not being afraid of being in the shadow side and feeling whatever comes up. Healing with the Angels Oracle card, you get harmony. Some of you may find some solace in music, playing music, hearing music. Don't put on the love songs that are associated with that person. I'm talking calming music. You may find some kind of harmony by doing something physical or being out in nature. To be honest, be kind to yourself. Self-love, self-compassion. Whatever you need to do to feel better, so long as it doesn't involve doing something, because that is almost punishing yourself. Get into that yin principle. November is a time of yin. You actually are spot on, number 3, because we are in Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Venus moves into Libra. This is a time of harmony, balance, and getting within yourself, okay? You will find after November, things change, things move, but only if you let that life force visit and move through you, okay? If you want a private reading, you can book in the description box below. Check out my other pick a card readings, and do subscribe to the channel if you want to be given daily alerts of my daily readings, okay? I'll see you soon. Thank you. 1, 2, and 3. Namaste.